Welcome back to Up the Villa podcast and welcome to the debrief. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, get involved in the comment section down below by sharing your thoughts. Goes off like a fan forum every single time. And make sure you drop a like. Let's have a like target. Let's go big. Let's go big. If you're enjoying the content and you like the channel, which I hope all of you do, then we'll go for 600 likes. Smash that like button. Just smash that like button. So I think this is one of my favorite episodes that we do because you really get to, you have the raw emotion of, no, to be fair, you have the match preview. That's, optimism, looking at the opposition. Then you'll have like the fan cam straight out the ground. How do you feel? Match reaction is a bit more calm down a bit, you see things a little bit differently. And then this one, you have a real good look at how we've played and the numbers and everything like that. So hopefully we take you on a bit of a journey as the week goes on. So Aston Villa 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Again, another win. And it's just amazing, isn't it? Ryan, how are you feeling being a Villa fan right now?
Oh, high as a kite, mate. High as a kite and flying in the spring sunshine. Yesterday was just superb, mate. Absolutely superb. What a run we're on. What a run. It's unbelievable. I've been a Villa fan for years and years and years. And, there's the optimism in the air, the confidence that we're going into games and winning games is very similar to the 10-match winning run that took us all the way to Wembley and back to the Premier League. It's got that air about it. But before that, you have to go back to O'Neill's days where we've had this type of run. It's incredible. It's like unreal how the coaching of these players have just got the best out of them. Everybody is on fire. Watkins, the change in him, he's absolutely ruthless at the minute. His confidence is through the roof. You know what I mean? He's running around Villa Park with his top off, ripped to hell, absolutely loving life. You're seeing the best out of John McGinn. He looks like an absolute captain now. Louise in the middle looks world class. Looks like he could play in any team in the Premier League. The defence, rock solid. The Mings-Konsa partnership, just superb. They're like telepathic between them. Mings' confidence on the ball now, playing out from the back, I always remember Emery after it was the Leicester game, I think it was, or the Arsenal game, where we'd made a couple of mistakes playing out from the back. And he says, just keep doing what you're doing, but do it better. And then words have always stuck with me. And that is what we've done. We just keep doing it. And his favourite word is demanding, isn't it, Emery? He says it all the time. And he's demanding that we just keep going, keep doing what we're doing, demanding that we have faith in what we're doing, and we're reaping the awards now. And as a fan base, we're on cloud number 9. It's super stuff, and love it, absolutely love it.
There was a period yesterday when we were playing out from the back, and I don't really think they pressed us that well when we were playing out from the back anyway. So they didn't really invite the heart in mouth moment for the fans that don't like it or whatever. But there was one moment where they did press us and we were just so relaxed and calm. I could literally see how relaxed Martinez was to Konsa. Konsa was relaxed and there was just no danger. And it was just to see how confident they were kicking that football around was just brilliant. And I can't believe how well we've played in those 3 games because, we go into every game, like we were saying that like Nottingham Forest, it's going to be a really difficult game and every game's difficult. And I was listening to the Leeds manager, Javi Garcia, before the game saying like to get 1 win in the Premier League is so difficult. But we've just come off the back of winning 3 in a row, like in a fixture congestion of April where you're looking at it thinking, God, we've got so many games. That's going to be such a difficult month. Like, the squad's not the biggest. Like, how are we going to rotate? What are we going to do? But we've got through the first half of it, the first congested half, really well now. So we're now going into like a single game week against Newcastle, then sort of like a single one against Brentford, and then it gets a bit more hectic with Fulham and United. So the fact that we've now got this little bit of a week break like normal should allow us to sort of recoup and recover now. So I think it's just amazing. And as you could all see from the thumbnail, I am buzzing. Justin, what are your thoughts coming away from it now? Then, like a day after.
Equally pleased as you. I think you've both, as usual, summed up emotions very well. It's these kind of runs don't happen very often. If at all, for a lot of clubs, to be honest. It's only usually the elite clubs, the Man Cities and the Arsenals this season, that you get used to kind of just week in, week out winning. And that's something we're going to have to get used to, I think, because I think this is the norm now. I genuinely think this. It isn't a fluke. It isn't just a period of time where everything's just clicked. I think this is what Emery. This is what he's aiming for. This is the evolution that he wants at Villa. He wants us to be competitive, and beating the likes of the teams down the bottom week in, week out. Probably the bottom 10, to be honest. He'll be looking at, we've got to really take maximum points out of all of those teams every season. And then the teams that sort of fight out for Europe, you've got to try and pick up as many as you can. And then the elite top sort of four, you've got to try and compete as best you can with them. And we've done it comfortably, really, over the last month or so. And it's I know it's unusual for us because we're not used to it, but I can definitely get used to it. And I think the way we went about yesterday, I know we'll get into a bit more detail. It was a bit different to the other games. It was, they came with a slightly different way of playing, and it did negate us to a point, especially in that first half. And the only other team in this run of 7 games that we've sort of done brilliantly at that's got close to sort of shutting us down was West Ham, and I felt they were very, very similarly set up to Forest yesterday. But we've got Emery, and that's the difference, and that's the only thing you need. If it's not working one way, he'll find another way. That's the confidence I've got in him and the team.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I think is so good about us is that we've got different ways of winning. And that is the sign of a really good team. Like I'd say against Bournemouth, we were a little bit more free-flowing, a bit more open, and then we can go away from home and we can sit in against Chelsea, but we do have that X factor to sort of counter and catch them on the break. And there's certain games where we go away from home and we completely dominate the football. We impose ourselves, such as West Ham and Leicester. And then even yesterday, it's a difficult game because the opposition team are coming to defend. They're not coming. They weren't coming to attack us. They were coming to just sit in, defend, and feed off a couple of scraps, a couple of counter attacks, and try and win the game like that, or win it off corners. So the onus is on us at home to keep our shape, keep that control. And just keep doing what we're doing. A little bit like when we went down to 10 men against Leicester. Don't change what you're doing because they're down to 10 men. Just keep doing what you're doing. And that's what we keep doing at home. And, there was moments in that game where, we were still like knocking it about the back, pretty slow at our own pace. I would say there was a few around me that were saying, like, quicken it up. But we just got to go with it and just completely dominate and control that game. Because like I said on the player rating, I was watching a Forest vlog after the game and they were saying that in the second half, they wanted Villa to open up and have a go and come at them and be more expansive and more attacking in the second half, which is what you think would happen at home. But we don't want to do that because we're just playing into their hands. So I think it's all about like sticking to the plan, isn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, I think there's a reason why it's slow and laboured at the back sometimes because, like you've just said there, Forest come for a point yesterday. They sat back. They weren't interested in attacking us. So what do? you've got to draw them out. You've got to draw them out. And it's been so good the way we have played out from the back, because we are drawing teams out and we're bringing them 5-10 yards more forward than they want to be. And then, bang, we're countering them. So it's the bigger picture, isn't it? We might be looking at it going, come on, I want a bit more excitement. I've got to go for it. But the bigger picture is we're drawing teams out. We're creating space. Players are moving around. The midfield is moving around while it's getting passed around the back to create the triangles, to spring these like counter-attacks. And when we do, it's to devastating style, to be fair.
That one where we completely played it out from the back. And was it Buendia who had the shot and it sort of just brisked past Watkins? I mean, if that goal had gone in...
The one that Moreno pulled back.
It's another one of them goals where it started, I think, probably from our keeper. And we've literally passed through them and we've created a goal-scoring chance. So, you know, I don't want to touch on Newcastle too much because we're going to have a weaker build-up for that. But that's going to be a blockbuster game, that is, because they're not going to sit back. They're not going to sit and wait for us. They're going to come on to us. So that space, you know, it's going to be a monster game. So let's have a little look at how the game went then. So, I mean, standard 65% possession at home, 1.37 XG, total shots, 8 shots, 3 on target, 4 off target. And they had 8 corners and we had 1. They made 17 fouls and they were offside 7 times. Again, another thing where you just look at it and you think, oh, they're just offside. No, we're playing them offside. And that's the difference from being offside to playing someone offside. So, I mean, that stat in itself is just fantastic. We had 442 passes, 85% passing accuracy. They had 228, 66% passing accuracy. We had total duels won 49, dribble percent 50%. Let's have a look at the shots by XG. You can see Villa are in the blue, Forest are in the red. And this was the shot map of the game as well. So all of Villa's shots were coming inside the 18-yard box as well. Forest were looking to obviously shoot from distance and they had 3 shots inside the box as well. Villa's danger creation, pretty central to be fair. And this is the average positions from the game. So you can see, interestingly, Ashley Young was the furthest forward fullback. You've got Louise and you've got McGinn in the double pivot. Buendia was dropping a little bit deeper. Ramsey was playing further forward. So a little bit of a random average position from Villa. It looked a little bit narrow, didn't it, through the middle? And this was Aston Villa's passing network. So as you can see, majority of the build-up was coming from Martinez, Mings, Konsa, straight to the fullbacks. And then there was triangles inside the pitch as well. And, you know, I do think it was a bit of a poor game from Ramsey and Buendia. I think they were a little bit quiet. Does anyone want to touch on them too?
I think the average position one, if you go back to that one, I think it looks different to what we've been used to recently, because I think you've got to give credit to Forest to how they came and set up. Like Ryan was saying, you know, they sat deep, they did a low block, didn't they? They didn't try and press us high. They know how we're going to play. And this is something we've got to get used to now, because teams, the better we get and the higher in the league we get. I mean, we used to have teams coming to Villa Park, not really fearing coming to Villa Park, thinking, okay, we're going to go there and try and beat them. Now we're going to get teams coming to Villa Park thinking, right, let's get a point at Villa Park and go home. So we have got to find different ways of playing against teams. And Forest came with a totally different strategy to what we've been used to recently. So it was a matter of finding a different way. And I think the 3 in behind, Watkins struggled yesterday to try and get a hold of the ball, because, you know, we were just trying to dictate play a bit deeper, and it wasn't quite working in that first half, which is why I did see a small change in the second half. I think we went a little bit more I'm not even going to say direct because it's not direct. It's still passing out from the back. But I think we went forward a little bit quicker. We tried to move the ball a bit quicker and try and open up those spaces a little bit more because we all knew that once that first goal went in, which it did, that has to change the way Forest play then. So getting that first goal was the key moment of the game, wasn't it? Because then they thought, right, we can't just sit back now and soak up pressure. We've got to try and have a bit of a go. And to be fair to them, they did. I think they had a bit of a go in the second half. But we soaked everything up again, and then we hit him with a counter at the end. So it was perfect, really.
I think Dendoncker helped, didn't he, when he came on? McGinn went a bit further forward, and I think that sort of gave us a little bit more of like a midfield foothold, and McGinn sort of went up a level for me.
It felt like when I was watching it that McGinn was the deeper of the two. I thought Louise was more advanced, but seeing that average position there, McGinn is the more advanced. And just to touch on Ramsey, I love Ramsey. I really, really want him to do well. And yesterday, along with Buendia, they were doing a lot of things right. It was just that final ball, wasn't it? Which, for them type of players, it's not going to come off every time, is it? Because if it did, we'd be scoring handfuls of goal. But in the end, he did keep his composure well for Watkins' goal and got the assist. But like when it ain't quite working for two of them, the rest of the team have got their back, and it's not like we're pinning our hopes on one player to have a good game.
What did we always used to say? When one of them's bad, they're all bad.
Yeah,
and that's not the case anymore. Is
no.
If one of them's bad, there might be one next to him, but everybody else is fine. Like on the player ratings, I think I've gave all of the defence an 8, McGinn and Louise 7s. I gave Ramsey Buendia 6, and I think everyone else got 7, 8s and whatever. So I think that just backs up that point of it, doesn't it, really?
You could see Buendia's frustration when he got took off. He wasn't happy. So, but they can't all be brilliant every week. They've got to accept that they're going to have little dips in form, and it just didn't quite happen for him yesterday. And that's absolutely fine. Don't get too. I'm sure the manager will say to him, "Don't worry about it. It's fine." We had to change it. We wanted to get. I thought it was the right thing to do was push McGinn a bit further forward, and then dropping Dendoncker into that pivot then helps McGinn. He's just got a bit more energy than Buendia. That's all. Buendia is brilliant when we've got a lot of possession in that final third and you can get on the ball and he can try and pick a pass or open the team up. And I think he just needed a little bit more. We needed a bit more meatball in that final third, didn't we? That's what we needed, and that's exactly what we got. That busting runs and trying to knock people off the ball, and he's in such good form that it don't really matter where you play him. To be honest, he's an impact on the game, isn't he? So again, great substitution from the manager, isn't it? Which we've become almost accustomed to now, and it's becoming a bit boring how good he is at substitutions now, to be honest.
Definitely.
Well, what about that first one when Bailey come off injured and the wizard with his left foot, he's back, isn't he? And the two goal contributions were superb, weren't they? His goal, he took his goal really well, but I love that build up for Watkins' goal. That touch is sublime, and then the quickness just to reverse the pass. It's a great goal, Watkins' goal is, and you look at the whole goal. It's brilliant.
Touch and everything. What I will say about Traoré is if Bailey is out, I do want to see a bit more. Do you know what I mean? Like,
totally agree.
Take away his goals, take away whatever his little touches in there. Brilliant. But we're going to need more from him because
100%.
Just like Bailey, he disappears a bit for me.
I said exactly the same. I think about halfway through the second half, I said, apart from scoring, which is such a daft thing to say, but you know what I mean. Apart from getting the goal, his actual contribution to the game was fairly minimal, really. So you do want him to be involved a lot more, and whether he can add that to his game or not, it is still early days. He's only really had a couple of cameos so far. It'd be interesting if he does get a start at some point. If he's trusted with that starting berth, which
he's got to build up them minutes, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He can't get it overnight.
He might have to. He probably wasn't going to come on until like the last.
No. But he only had 5 minutes against Leicester, really, though, didn't he? Scored his goal, and before that, it was only a couple of cameos. So it is, and he did have a injury hit half season in Turkey. So just building him back up. But
and we haven't got
two goals is superb, isn't it?
Absolutely. We haven't got a huge amount of depth in that position coming off the bench. So, we are a little bit stuck with those two. And they are the probably two most frustrating players we currently have in the team. So, hopefully Coutinho won't be too far away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Right, let's finish the stats off then. So if we have a look at this was Forest's average position. So I mean, you can see in that half there, can't you, how congested it already is. And then you've got these two sitting here. So yeah, it was really and I mean, yeah, okay. This is their passing network. So I mean, what do you make of it?
Not a lot, I think, is the answer.
We
Yeah,
just
I think
stifled them, haven't we? We just stifled them.
I mean,
No way through our brick wall.
I was annoyed that Shelby never went yesterday, to be fair. I think that first
Oh,
challenge he
yeah.
never got booking for when he went through, was it McGinney went through? It was a nailed on yellow card, that first one. And I said to Dave next to me, I said, there'll be at some point he'll do exactly the same again, and he did. Now, whether he would have made that second challenge had he got a yellow on the first, obviously you don't know. But yeah, I like Gibbs White. I think he looks a decent player. I think we handled Brennan Johnson, who's in very good form, pretty well as well at the back. We kept him very quiet. I do think he took a knock there early in the first half, and I don't think he was quite the same after that. But overall, we dealt very well with everything they had to throw at us, didn't we?
I think the thing is with Forest, like, looking back now, watching them, I just think he's lost it, that Cooper, I just think he's lost the vibe. I mean, that Brennan Johnson, he's not a striker, is he? But they're playing him like through the middle. I don't understand why they don't go with the lad up top and then put Gibbs White as a 10, Johnson on the out wide. I just don't know why.
Because he's trying to. He's got a player in. He's got a player in form, hasn't he? So he's just trying to ride off the back of a player that's in a purple patch. And let's just stick him up front. He's scoring goals. I think he can play there. I don't think that's his best position, but he can play there. I mean, Cooper's, you could tell after the game, the comments Cooper was making were just deluded almost, saying that we wasn't a threat and they were the better side. That's a manager that's under huge pressure, that's trying so hard to try and keep the fans on side, going through an awful run. I do, yeah. I think they're gone, yeah. I do.
Yeah,
they can't pick a win up away from home, so that puts enormous pressure on their home form. They've only got to lose 1 or 2 at home, and they're in big trouble. Christ, the sun's coming through here.
But it's just great, just walking down them steps at the whole 10, just knowing you got them 3 points. It's just absolutely great to see where we are in the table now, 6th in the Premier League.
Oh my God!
Ever since we've done this podcast, we've never been any good, have we? Really? So it feels weird, like looking at the table and we're 6th and everything like that. So
it's mad. It's mad that like a week ago was 11th place, like level on points with Chelsea. Now a week later, we're 6 and 8 points ahead of Chelsea. Yeah. We've had an absolute worldie of a week, haven't we? What a week we've had.
It's been
favourite week of the year. This has been so far.
Oh, it's been brilliant, hasn't it? And I mean, me and you, Ron, we were walking out from the ground, and we were just having a little look at the table, weren't we? And you mentioned this point about Chelsea, that we was like a couple of points behind them, weren't we? And then like when you look at the table now, and you're like, look, Chelsea 39, Villa 47.
Yeah.
How have we done that?
If you give someone that table, right, who didn't know football and said, look at Aston Villa and look at Chelsea and say, look, a week ago, Villa were behind Chelsea, you'd look at that and go, what? How does that game work? But unreal. And we've got all them teams to come as well. So we're in for a right treat of a finish, aren't we? Real exciting finish.
I think it's key now not to get. I'm not trying to dampen it down because we've had a fantastic week, but the expectation levels now will naturally go through the roof. So what I don't want to see is at games people getting annoyed if we don't win a game, if we lose a game. Because if you do look at our fixtures, we've got some really, really hard games coming up, and I don't fear any of them. That's at all. I don't fear Newcastle. next week, Burnley, Brighton. You know, any of the teams we're playing, Spurs coming up, United. Don't fear any of them because we can.
Don't you just love that feeling, though? Don't you just love that feeling that we're going to go into games and we're going to be competitive every single game?
Absolutely, but if we do lose a few of them, if we do drop a little bit, I just think don't get too annoyed with it because we're on an amazing journey, an amazing run, and sixth would be literally unbelievable to finish sixth. But if we finish eighth, there's two teams below us have got 2 games in hand, so it will right itself a little bit at the table if they can pick points up. But I don't fear anyone, and that's the best thing to come out of this season. 2 best things to come out of this season is we've got a manager that's just sublime, and we've got a team that we fall in love with again, and that can compete with. All you ask for is to compete week in, week out with any team. And if we lose, we lose. That's just on the day. But we know now we're more than a match for any team in that division.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, I know we're getting we're all excited about being sixth and stuff and being where we are in the league, but there'll be no meltdown on my part even if we don't get Europe. I just think ride where we are. Let's enjoy it. Let's enhance it. Let's embrace it. But if we don't make it, then do you know what I mean?
It won't be because of anything that will happen from now till the end of the season. If we was in the mix for a European place and we lose to a last-minute goal against Brighton on the last day, for example, it won't be because of that last-minute goal, will it? It'll be what happened where we got 9 points in 12 games at the start of the season. So, like you say, it's Europe's not all or bust, is it? It's blooming fantastic to be in this mix and to give it a right good go. And there's not really a lot of pressure on us, and that's what makes us so dangerous, doesn't it? And it's like we're just going into these games, game by game, and we've just planted ourselves in the mix, and we're right in it. We're right in it, and for us fans, we just got to enjoy it, enjoy the build-ups, enjoy the games. Like the build-up yesterday, we was in the pub, and the atmosphere was like superb, and everyone's on a high, everyone's happy. Everyone's saying hello to one another, chatting. It's such a great vibe, and that's what we want when we go to football, isn't it? You want that type of atmosphere. And for years we've been starved of it, and now having a right good munch.
Europe would be the cherry on the icing on the cake, wouldn't it? If we got it,
yeah.
But I'm happy with the icing on the cake at the moment. I think it's just tasting superb.
And we have got a striker up top that just can't stop scoring. So that's another positive.
I know you've touched on it earlier, but that goal, you take it on its merit. The touch to take it away from the defender. With one movement, he's taking it away from the defender. And he even said himself after the game last year, he doesn't finish that. He doesn't do what he did yesterday. To have that confidence, and if this is the Ollie Watkins that we have now got permanently, we have got a supreme striker. He's built like an elite athlete, isn't he? He's tall, he's lean, he's good in the air, he's quick, he's got energy to burn, and we always said if he could just finish regularly, the chances that he could, then we would have an unbelievable player. And that's what
so the thing with Watkins,
please Ollie sign that long-term contract as soon as possible.
When Dino brought him in, right, he was that fox in the box. He was scoring goals. You look back on his hat-trick against Liverpool, you look back on his 2 goals against Arsenal, because sort of Grealish was there, wasn't it? And you wouldn't go into Grealish's area, and he just focused on being that main man. Sort of when Grealish got injured and then he moved on to City, like just his work ethic, he was getting utilised the wrong way when it was like come back and defend. And Ollie's honest, isn't he? And he'll graft all day long, and he was doing a great job, but he wasn't being a striker. And then when you are getting into them positions, you're just lacking that confidence a bit. And his confidence had completely drained, hadn't it, under Gerrard? And he's just running around like a headless chicken trying to defend like attacks or whatever. But now Emery's come in, recoached him, got him back into that central role, and that is his zone. That's his area. Don't worry about anything else that's going on. You worry about that. So when the ball comes in the box, he's sharp, isn't he? He's sharp. He's thinking. He's hungry for goals, and just the coaching. It feels so simple, doesn't it? It feels so simple just to say you play up front, you be the number 9, you stay there, you score us goals. But it does feel that simplistic, doesn't it? And like Ollie's reaping the awards, and his confidence, his smile, it's beaming, isn't it? Beaming all around Villa Park, and we love it. We love it.
Long may
I
it
think
continue.
sometimes simplicity is the best option, isn't it? You know, like I say, we all got. I think we always said on this pod, you know, oh, he does everything, and the way he runs around, the way he does, he runs the channels, he hunts people down, and like you said, Ryan summed it up perfectly. I don't really need to say this, but he just does everything simply and everything really well.
Up the Villa. Right then, so I'll end it there then. So thanks for watching the episode. We have got a football phone-in out tomorrow as well. We've got loads of guests on that. So that'll be good. That'll be coming out tomorrow as well. So stay tuned. Loads of episodes coming. I'm going to try and get loads of different vibes going as well this week because it is a really big game that we've got coming up. So let's go for it. So cheers everyone that supported the channel. Cheers everyone that comes up to us and has a chat with us at the games. It's been great. And yeah, keep the positivity going. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.